I built a tool that scans my entire LEGO inventory, all 11,000 lots, against what the rest of Europe is actually charging for the same part, same color, and the same condition. What I didn't tell you is that the first version of this tool broke, and so did the second one. This is the honest version of that story, including the part where I spent 20 minutes convinced that my API key was cursed, and it turned out I just deleted 2 quotation marks. So if you missed the first video, I handed my BrickLink store sales data to an AI and I found out a 10,252 euro blind spot. All from dead stock I didn't realize it was dead. This video is the part that turns into an actual piece of software. A market price scanner that checks every single one of my listings against what the rest of Europe is actually charging. Same part, same color, the same condition. So before I show you how it works, 2 things people are gonna ask me in the comments for sure if I don't say them now. So let's just get it out of the way. The first one, my BrickLink API keys never touched the AI, not even once. The script runs entirely on my own laptop. The AI helped me write the code that talks back to the BrickLink's API, but the actual keys, the actual connection, the actual data pool, all of that happens locally on my machine on my own account. Nothing gets uploaded anywhere except the spreadsheet I choose to hand over afterwards. And second, across this whole project, not just this tool, the only customer-facing data that was ever used anywhere was the order number, back in the first video's analysis. No names, no addresses, no emails. This particular script doesn't touch order data at all. But I know some of you will ask about it given the context, so hereby covered. And if you're the kind of person who actually cares about that stuff before diving into a tutorial, respect, subscribe to the channel, we're gonna get along. Alright, so let's start this off. This whole thing runs off of one file, your current BrickLink inventory export. Every lot, every part number, every color, your price, your quantity, one CSV file straight from your own store. That's genuinely it. This particular tool doesn't need your order history at all. It's not looking at what you've sold, it's checking what you currently own against what the rest of Europe is charging for the same thing right now. Different question, different data. The sales history side of things with the AI used back in the first video for the dead stock tiering, a completely separate step. This tool only needs to know what's sitting in your store today. So here's where it gets fun. Version 1 of this script had a genuinely good structure. Read the inventory, hit BrickLink's price guide API for every single item, and compare it to what I'm charging. The problem was, BrickLink's API wants a color ID number, not a color name. My inventory export says dark bluish gray. The API wants to hear 85. So the AI built a color name to ID map, which sounds simple until you remember LEGO has produced parts in something like 130 different official colors, half of which sound like a paint store had a stroke. Reddish lilac, speckled black copper, and yeah, that's a real one. I'm not making this up, guys. So version 1's color map wasn't complete enough. So any part in a color it didn't recognize just silently failed. No error, no crash, just skipped, which is almost worse than a crash, because you don't find out until much later a chunk of your data is simply missing. So version 2 fixed the color mapping. Then it hit a completely different problem. This scan, it takes a while. We're talking 11,000 lots, each one needing an API call with BrickLink's rate limits forcing a pause between the requests. Realistically, somewhere around an hour and a half, depending on how many unique items you are checking. Version 2 had no way of saving its place. And somewhere in the middle of that first real run, and I still don't know what actually caused it. Was it Wi-Fi, a background update? Who knows? The whole thing just stopped. No progress saved, nothing. Back to item 1, somewhere north of an hour, just plain gone, for a reason I never even got to the bottom of. So version 3 fixed both problems, and this is the one I actually use. 2 things have changed. First, obviously, the full color map. all 100 plus official LEGO colors, so nothing gets silently skipped anymore. The second, and this is the most important one, it saves its own progress every 50 items to a little file sitting next to the script. If anything interrupts it, sleep mode, or Wi-Fi, or my dumbass closing the laptop because I forgot I was doing something, I can just run it again and it picks up exactly where it left off, instead of starting the entire thing over.
Errors in the scan can happen. This is mostly because of bad API calls. A BrickLink website issuer when there is no sales data available for that particular part. These errors will be marked in the Excel spreadsheet as no data.
If you actually want to try this on your own store, and genuinely, I built this for people to use, not just to look at. Here's the short version. I'm gonna say this part slowly because I want to be upfront about something. I am not a Python person. I have never written a line of code before this project, but if I could get this running on my laptop, you can get it running on yours. So you'll need Python installed. That's free download on python.org. And the only thing that trips people up is a checkbox during install that says add Python to path. Check it. I didn't the first time and spent 20 minutes wondering why my computer was pretending Python didn't exist. So once that's sorted, you drop the script in its own folder along with your BrickLink inventory export sitting right next to it. You paste your own BrickLink API keys into 4 lines near the top and the script tells you exactly what lines. Then you open a command window in that same folder, type one line, Python, then the script file's name, and press enter. And that's it. It starts working, it prints a progress update every 50 items, and after about an hour to an hour and a half, depending how big your store is, you've got your spreadsheet. A full step-by-step with pictures, every command spelled out, every error I personally ran into and how I fixed it. That's all written down in a proper manual. Both the script and that manual are linked in the description down below. So what does this actually give you? An Excel file, not a database, not anything fancy, just a spreadsheet with every single one of my lots, my price next to what actually sold on the European market over the last 6 months, what's currently listed for sale, and a verdict column. Overpriced, underpriced, competitive, or above market, plus a suggested price for each one. And that spreadsheet is the handoff point. I don't have the AI touch BrickLink directly ever. I upload this Excel into Claude afterwards, and that's where the actual repricing strategy is built. The script's only job is to gather honest market data. Okay, so I got a spreadsheet that tells me what's wrong. It doesn't fix anything by itself. BrickLink doesn't let an AI just reach in and change your prices, thank God for that. What actually happens next is I upload that spreadsheet into Claude and ask it to turn the verdicts into files BrickLink can actually understand. BrickLink updates prices in bulk through something called an inventory upload. You feed it a file in a specific format and it updates however many lots are in that file in one go, instead of you clicking through 8,000 different listings one at a time. So the ask is basically read my spreadsheet and generate that file for me. So a couple of real wrinkles came up here that are worth knowing about if you're gonna try this yourself. First, retired Lego sets or any kind of Lego sets are a completely different animal from loose parts. A set that's been discontinued tends to go up in value over time. It's basically a collectible, not something you want to discount just because a spreadsheet flagged it. So I explicitly told Claude to leave every set out of any price cut entirely. Parts get repriced by the data, sets get left alone. And second, BrickLink actually caps how many lots you can update in a single upload file. I've got roughly 11,000 lots, and the moment you're dealing with a store that size, one file isn't enough. You need to split it into several batches under whatever that limit is. So instead of one tidy file, I ended up with several. Raises split across a few files, cuts in their own file, plus a combined version. Not a bug, it's just what happens once your store is big enough to hit BrickLink's own ceiling. And third, and this is the one I actually want you to remember, I do not blindly trust every number that came back. When I looked through the raises file, one item jumped from 49 cents to over 8 euros. That's the kind of jump that's either genuinely rare, thinly traded part, or bad data. So before uploading anything, I went and checked that specific item on BrickLink's own price guide page directly. Turns out the item code Claude had attached to that price jump was factually wrong. A simple mix-up and easily caught, but only because I checked instead of just uploading blind. That one item got pulled out before anything went live. Out of thousands of changes, one mistake caught by a 30-second manual check. That's the ratio I'm comfortable with. So once the files are actually right, sets excluded, that one bad item pulled, here's the part that surprised me. You just can't upload the XML file directly. BrickLink doesn't have a choose file for this. And maybe it does, but I didn't find it. If there is, please drop me a line in the comment because I'm dying to know about it. But what you actually do is you open the XML file in Notepad, select all, copy it, then go to BrickLink's mass inventory update page. And that page has two boxes, a top one for adding brand new stock and a bottom one for updating stock you already have listed. So you paste the contents into the bottom box. Very important because you're changing prices on lots that are already existing, not adding anything new. And that's actually the mechanism behind the numbers from our last video. It's not a vibe, it's not a guess, it's a spreadsheet checked by a human, copy pasted it to the right box in the right order, boring in the best possible way. So if you want this exact script and the full written manual that walks through every step at a pace that assumes zero coding experience, just like me, I'm not gonna make you reverse engineer it from a YouTube video. Both are linked in the description down below, completely free. And if you run any kind of store with more listings than you can price check by hand, please subscribe to the channel because I'm gonna keep building tools like this out in the open, mistakes included. And if a video like this is actually useful for you, drop me a like. It's the easiest way to tell me to keep making this kind of content instead of just guessing. Thanks all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.